Yep, I'd like to read you another story from Anarchy, Book 1. The stories are written by me, and the pictures that you're going to see are illustrated by my good mate, Peter Kavanagh. So, if you're sitting comfortably, then I'll begin. Bertie, the Pudgie Budgie. Bertie was a budgie. He lived in a terrace house in Heckmanwike. His history was a little smudgy. Born in the wilds of Australia, he was now a Yorkshire tyke. Blue with black markings and a bright yellow beak, the old lady who owned him had taught him to speak because her husband had long since passed away, and she needed company to help to pass the days. "Hey up, Bertie, who's a pretty boy?" she'd ask. "Me," he'd say, and take her to task. "Pretty obvious, Mabel, since I've Johnny one here. Now, what's for dinner, eh? I hope it's not them seeds, else there'll be trouble at mill, I fear, 'cause me, well, thou knows, I'm a budgie with needs." "What about a nice piece of beef, Mabel, wi' hot Yorkshire puds, lashings of gravy and crisp roasted spuds?" "Oh, Bertie, don't be daft. That's not what budgies eat. It's grass seed mainly, and sometimes fruit for a treat." "No wonder poor old Arthur went to meet his maker, if you fed him like you feed me and never go to the baker. How about a nice piece of parkin, or some fresh fluffy baps? And on your way back you could stop at Chippy perhaps. A battered cod and mushy peas, with lashings of vinegar on both of them, please." "Oh, Bertie, I think that's the first time you've used the please word." "Aye, well, don't get used to it, that'd be absurd. I've only got a beak, so I can't say read me lips. Go on now, Mabel, love, get us some chips." Bertie, I'm just popping down to the shops, but if you're a good boy, I'll buy you a new bell and a bright shiny toy. And because I'm leaving you all alone, as a special treat, you shall have a new cuttlefish bone." "A bell, a toy, a bone, be still my beating heart. Bacon and black pudding, missus, now that would hit the proper part. But I'll tell you what, Mabel, if you are going outside, can you leave cage door open like, so I can have a fly around the living room and work up an appetite to eat some of them seeds and fruit and stuff?" "Well, just this once, if you promise to be good. But the windows will be shut, no flying off around the neighbourhood." "Don't you worry, Mabel, love, I won't leave t' house. I'll be as good as gold me and quiet as a mouse. But if you'd leave kitchen door open, just a smidgen like, I could stretch me wings much further. Now you get on your bike." It was unlike Bertie to be so nice, so Mabel was very happy. She grabbed her handbag and her glasses. "Ta-ra, you cheeky chappy." "Ta-ra," he said. "It's a glorious day. Where do you think you'll target?" "Do you know, I think I'll treat mysen and go to Dewsbury Market." "Ecky thump," he said. "That's living it in style." But as she locked the door, Bertie gave a beaky smile. "Grand. Dewsbury on bus. She'll be gone for most of the day, and that gives little Bertie here bags of time to play." And straight into the kitchen that greedy budgie flew, took a spoon from off the draining board. He knew what he would do. He carried it up onto the fridge and pushed it down the door seal. Then with all his might he levered it until he heard the hinges squeal, and with a pop and a sigh the door it opened wide, and his little tongue slavered at all the goodies there inside. A Battenberg cake and pikelets too, some leftover sausages, just a few, with fried onions and a corner of tripe, and some past sell-by cheese, a little bit ripe. A small jar of beef dripping, and potted meat in a tin, with only a little bit of mould growing round the rim. "It's a Budgie cornucopia," he cried. "Eureka! I can't wait to get this lot down me beak." And so, without further ado, he set to eating, but as he did, he grew and grew. Finally, he shut the fridge door and walked back to his cage. Flying was out of the question at this stage. As he waddled along, the reality of what he'd just done was dawning. He must weigh a stone heavier than he had done this morning. "I can't get up there," he panted. "It's just no use trying. Too flippin' hard when you're this heavy for flying. I'll have a little kip like, on rug, in front of fire. I must admit I'm jiggered. All this exercise makes you tired." And so it was that he fell asleep, but his stomach kept on working, while he had troubled dreams about finishing that last gherkin. He didn't even wake up when the key turned in the lock and a voice cried, "Cooey, Bertie!" Mabel was in for quite a shock, for there upon the hearthrug her Bertie lay a-snoring, with his bum towards the fire and his feet up in the air clawing, and his stomach churned and gurgled as all that food fermented, and by his gaseous rumblings Bertie was tormented. "Bertie, what's wrong?" she called. It made the Budgie jump. "By heck," he cried, "me poor insides!" And he let forth such a trump. Unfortunately, the fire's flame caused gases to ignite, and Bertie's bum was like a rocket engine. It gave Mabel such a fright. As shot across the room, the first ever budgerigar sonic boom. He ricocheted off the sideboard, back over the mantelpiece, broke the souvenirs from Filey and the 3 flying geese, knocked over all the photographs, dislodged every lampshade, until with a pop, 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 the engine stopped, and he fell back in his cage. The old lady simply stood there, stunned, shocked, wide-eyed, as Bertie sat in his drinking bowl and tried to regain his pride. Did you have a nice time, love?" he politely inquired. Yes, I did, thanks. But was that your bum on fire?" No, not at all," he haughtily replied, as he tried to disguise his bleary, teary eyes, and the drinking bowl steamed from his wet, blackened rump, from where he'd emitted that fearsome, fiery trump. "I brought you that bell and the toy and the bone." "How thoughtful of you, Mabel. I will decorate my home. But, Mabel, may I trouble you for a largish piece of ice?" "My, Bertie, you're such a gentleman. You shall have it in a trice." But when he came back from the fridge, she was looking rather troubled. "By gum, you know, when I was buying things, I was worried that I'd doubled up on all my stores, that food I had a-plenty. But now I find it must have slipped my mind. In fact, the fridge is empty." Gingerly sitting his bum upon the ice, he answered, "Really, Mabel? Then it's just as well you bought all this fresh stuff I see upon the table. Now, tell me all about your day. Which buses did you travel on? And did you treat yourself at all? And did you buy any Savlon? Do you know, I thought long and hard about your words on diet, and so I decided to treat us both to a chocolate cake. Come on, let's try it. Oh, thank you, Mabel. But I have also taken the time to think about my eating habits and their effect on my waistline. And I do believe that I should stick to seeds, appropriate nutrition for a Budgie's needs. That was Bertie, the Pudgie Budgie. I hope you liked it. And if you did, well, come back later and we'll have another one. From Book 1, Animal Anarchy. Until then, ta-ra. Thank you.